What is up, my lovely people in BluCranium land? So for today's video, guys, I'm going to be taking this scratchy looking rough skull that I'd done in a previous video probably about 6 months ago, and I'm going to show y'all how I turned it into this skull that's kind of got this textured, weathered forest look to it. And the two pens that I ended up using was the studio pen and the art marker. So if that's something you guys are interested in, stick around and let's get started. So what I did was I imported the photo that I'd saved in the Photos app, went ahead and resized it. And the only thing that I don't like in Procreate is when you resize things, they kind of tend to get a little blurry. But since this is just going to be a rough layer, and I'm just going to be using it as a base to keep my proportions within the confine of the tablet, I figured, it's not that bad. So I went ahead and turned down the opacity over here, make a new layer, name it inking, and then choose the studio pen, which is kind of my favorite pen. And I think I've messed around with the pen a little bit and had it edited. I think, well, my daughter actually had done that, so I just kind of used the settings that she had. So I went ahead and started with the eye, which is always my favorite part to begin with, and just drop the almost kind of black looking color in it to show the the depth of the eye. Do the same thing for the nose, and then start the eye that is a little bit further away from us. And as I said, you guys don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. I'm just kind of showing you how I did it. So I use the eraser over here now and just take away some of the color, and pretty much doing this kind of gives it kind of like that glow kind of a look, kind of like like as if the light was hitting from the right side looking left. No, I'm sorry, left looking right. And then for the side profile of the skull, I figured I'll just give it this nice kind of a textured look. At this point, I was not really sure how I wanted to take the skull. I just kind of wanted to know that I wanted to give it like that nice textured look. And usually when I'm drawing, it's I'm always listening to my music, and sometimes I honestly think what you're listening to, whether it be music or if you're watching a movie, truly comes out in the art as you're drawing. I don't know if it's psychological or just because you're listening to a song or watching a certain movie, and all those thoughts kind of play around in your head, and that's kind of what comes out. But I've noticed with all the pieces I've done over the years, anytime I'm listening to a certain kind of music and go to draw something, the final end piece always has that musical, some sort of a vibe carried into the drawing. I don't know if it's just me, but that's just my observation, what I've noticed. So with this now, I kind of wanted to, you see these little triangular sections that I'm doing between the teeth? That's just kind of signifying kind of like it's got some sort of decayed gum tissue that may have still been lingering along. And again, it's just completely abstract. There's no picture that I'm referring to at this point. I'm just drawing what's in my mind, straight from my mind onto the digital canvas. Or if I was drawing it traditionally, I'm guessing it would be the same way, but the only difference then is there is no undo or feature where you just can undo a line that you did. So I think that's definitely one of the cooler parts or cooler things. When you draw traditionally, you turn to have that discipline and know that when you put down a line, whether it be a pen or if you're painting, you have to know what you're going to do next, because once that line's down, it's down for good. So if you messed up, you have to figure out a way on how to correct it. And and obviously when you're doing digital like this, there's a lot of give and take. You can always undo a line. So if you don't like something, you know, you can always go ahead and redo it. Thought I'd give this some sort of bone kind of sticking out for the cheekbone. And I kind of wanted to draw the bottom jaw with the teeth, but then I was like, nah, you know, I don't know if it might look too overwhelming, so I figured I'd just keep it like this, you know. And as I said, like, you know, when I started this, I had no thought process on what I wanted to do and how I wanted the skull to turn out. I mean, I did know that I wanted to show some sort of texture in it, and you know, so this is like the basic line art and, like, you know, following the outside of the skull. And then now here for the details, what I did is I just kind of turned down the the slider of the pen to about 10%. Well, that's what it shows. And, you know, just start making lines on different parts of the skull. I mean, you can clearly see the difference between the thinner lines and the thicker lines, which is something I used to not really do in the past. But then, like, when you look at the drawing, like, you know, when you take a step back and you look at it, you can actually tell the difference in the line weight, how, you know, it makes the illustration really pop to show where the light would be falling, and, you know, the shadows and all that other fun stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to be making this as a playlist of some sort, but my thoughts is maybe this playlist will be like a somewhat slow narration of what I'm doing. And, you know, each skull or skeleton is going to be different. And maybe some days I'll probably just do something random, completely random, and just start with the rough sketch and then see where it goes. But I don't know, that might become too long of a video, so maybe I might break it up into, like, different parts. And, like, you know, so that way if you guys feel it's too overwhelming, I mean, you can just do, like, the first part and then, you know, maybe watch the second video to see how I do the detail and all that stuff. So this one was kind of like what I was thinking when I was doing this video or making the video. But as always, I kind of got carried away and just started going at it. You know, that's the thing about drawing. You know, when you're drawing, your mind is to get it finished and then move on to the next one. But yeah, as you can see now here for the teeth, I'm just drawing these simple thin lines just to kind of show the the use the skull has had through its lifetime by using its teeth to, you know, chomp on over all the food that he or she may have eaten. And yeah, you know, just drawing the lines and, you know, giving it each line kind of adds that special unique kind of texture to the bone surface, you know. And you know, when you alternate between the different line weights, I mean, you can really tell how nicely the skull slowly and steadily comes together. Like for me, and if you look at the slider on the left side, I've kind of set it to 10, 20, 30, and then the very last one I believe is 80. And that's something I think you can set with all the different brushes in Procreate. So I kind of just do that as quick tabs so that I can change back and forth between the brushes. So now another thing, what I wanted to try for this piece is kind of like stippling, or not kind of stippling, but the stippling digitally, which I've never really tried before. And at first I was kind of hesitant if I should do it and if it'll actually even come out nice. But then, as you'll see as the video progresses, I kind of gave it a try in a little area at the bottom corner, and then just kind of really liked how it came out. The only annoying thing is when you're doing it on the tablet, you can actually hear the tapping of the plastic nib against the screen. I mean, but I guess if you're listening to some kind of music with your headphones, it's not really bothersome, but if you're doing it without it, it kind of gets annoying. So that's just a heads up, I guess, to anybody that does it digitally, I guess. But doing it on the paper and doing it traditionally is a totally relaxing way of doing it. So now over here, what I did was I chose the brush, which is I believe at the 80% thickness. And then I kind of just went ahead and thickened up the lines at the bottom, because that would be the shadow area or the part of the skull that was not visible to the light from above or sideways, or however you want to call it. Then I did thickened up the line over here. And as I said, these are all these skulls are just out of pure imagination. And now do some more lines over here. And pretty much for this process, if you want, you guys can always pull up images on Pinterest, and just kind of refer to see what is out there when it comes to shading, and pretty much just try something new that you haven't tried before. This is just my version of how I do it, and if you guys are enjoying along, I'm happy that I could provide you guys some kind of value, as I said, because I'm not a teacher, but I try to see how I can make each new video have some sort of information kind of built into it, before I upload it, and so that way it's available to you guys for your watching entertainment and all the fun stuff. So at this point, I kind of felt like the side kind of looked too plain, so I went ahead and did this kind of like a big gaping hole in the side of the skull. So it almost looks like I don't know what to say, if it was something that the skull got smashed, I guess, maybe some sort of trauma, and just give some detail to the inside of it. And then let's go ahead and drop a shadow, or drop the little digital ink in there, so it looks like it's got depth, just like the eyes. And when you're drawing like this, it's all about zooming in and out. I know it kind of gets annoying after a while, but it's better than having to move paper around and having to worry about ink getting, or pencil graphite getting smudged all over. So now over here, since at this point I kind of figured I wanted to give it some sort of a forest look, kind of went ahead and did these roots kind of growing out of the skull. So I kind of started with the eyes, and then slowly worked my way to the bottom of the skull, almost like as if it was sitting in the middle of a forest somewhere, and there were trees, I guess, in the vicinity, and the roots kind of like how I was going search of water or towards light. So I guess they found their way through the light, or not through the light, through the skull, and then kind of added these small little leaves on them, just to obviously make it known that these are roots. Well, almost actually, like now that you think about it, not really roots, but more like a stem. So it kind of shows like that nice forest kind of nature look to it. So if you guys are following along and drawing at this point, you can actually try something different, instead of going for or drawing roots or stems and leaves like how I'm drawing over here. You could try maybe like a pirate theme, and maybe instead of the stem or root, you could draw maybe a chain, or maybe an octopus tentacle kind of intertwined between or through the skull. And just use your imagination and think of where the skull would be sitting. If it was in a graveyard, what it would have around it. Like for the ocean, as I said, you could have tentacles. And what else? The possibilities to add or accessorize these skulls is just infinite. You can even draw eyeglasses on them, and there's as I said, there's so many fun things that you can do when it comes to a skull. And as I said, it's interesting, it's fun, and just have fun when you're actually doing this. That's the whole point of these doing all these illustrations and drawing, is to get you guys motivated and drawing and having fun, because I mean, gosh, so much going on in the world nowadays. I mean, this is one way, I guess, which you can just kind of zen out and just have fun. So now over here, what I figured, since I'm going with the whole forest kind of a theme, I kind of wanted to give the bottom jaw almost like that textured, weathered look when you look at the bark of a tree. So what I did was I just used the studio pen and turned the percent down to about 10. And then I just started just making one line at a time, and starting it from one direction at the top and then at the bottom, and then just kind of like having it taper off as it goes to the center of the skull, which if you look at it now, it almost kind of looks like the textured look that a bark would actually have, because when you look at a bark of a tree, I mean, you've got all these jagged, crooked looking lines that make up each unique part of it. So I figured, I mean, this is as close to my version of the bark of a tree. And you can definitely try using the other textured pens that come along with Procreate. I mean, there's so many now. I mean, you can have each illustration with a different technique or pen used, and I don't think you'll ever run out. I mean, or you can use more than one pen in an illustration. And I think if I were to go ahead and color this, and use browns and different shades of brown, and it would kind of really have that nice woody, earthy texture to it. So I think that's definitely something you can try and just have fun with it, drawing lines. Yeah, drawing more lines. I don't know, I think for me it's just using the pencil and the tablet is always fun to do. I mean, especially when you've been drawing with pens and pencils for most of your drawing career, or not career but life. It's kind of unique drawing on the tablet, so anytime I get the time to splurge and just enjoy and just watch a movie and listen to my music and draw, I was like, let me pull out my tablet or unplug my tablet from charging and draw right ahead. So some more lines over here underneath the wonderful cheeky bone. But the detail part definitely takes some time, because I mean, if I was doing this on a traditional page or a drawing book, I don't know, for some reason maybe the feel of the traditional ink kind of coming out the pen, and you actually looking at those lines just coming onto the paper kind of feels unique, cool. I don't know where I'm going with this thought process, and here we are, the wonderful digital stippling. So what I did for this process was, instead of doing it directly on the inking layer, what I did was, just so I wouldn't mess up and have to undo it all, I just made a brand new layer and then had it be on top of this inking layer. So I just kind of started like how I would normally do a traditional piece. And at first I was like, I did like a first couple of tries before recording, and I was like, this is not looking as cool as it does when you do it on actual paper. But if you play around with the different percents that the the slider on the left has to offer, you can find like a sweet spot to doing it, And the other thing what I did was, when I first started doing it or trying it before I was recording, I kind of zoomed in so you could see the pixelated look of the brush. But if you zoom out, and what I'm doing over here right now, it's kind of partially zoomed out, it doesn't look as bad. But just having to work your way through the entire illustration definitely takes a whole lot of time, especially if you're going to be wearing the different percent. Like, for this one, I believe it was I don't know if it was 5 or 10%. And then if you want to get it thicker, in certain areas, I mean, you could probably switch it up to like 20, maybe 30. And I think if you go anything above 30, then it just looks like a blotch. And but since it's digital, I mean, you can always undo it. And for anybody that doesn't know what undo is, it's that little U-shaped kind of arrow that you can see at the bottom of the slider bar, which is on the left, which I'm pretty sure people know that, but just for somebody that does not know it, that's where it's at. So as you can see, now I just continue to keep doing this, and slowly but steadily you can see how it creates this nice textured look to the skull. So it kind of looks like it's not just a flat surface, but the little dots coming together kind of give like that if it's almost like if you were looking at the bone under a microscope, how it's not smooth, it's kind of got all these bubbly textured looking magnifying look to it. I mean, I guess that's as close as I can explain it, or at least when you're drawing a skull. But it's definitely very nice to do. I mean, I guess that plastic pen hitting on the screen is kind of annoying after a while, but once you see how the artwork is slowly and steadily but changing along, it's kind of interesting to see how the final piece is actually gonna turn out. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, just kept doing it on the top of the skull, and I think so far it's coming out nice. For the first try, I kind of wanted to give it that nice blended look, so I kind of just went in on the detail on that part by the cheekbone. But let's do some few lines over here now to change it up a bit. And yeah, I changed up to the studio pen for this, and I kind of wanted to give the eyes kind of like or not really the eyes, but the bones around the eyes kind of like that wrinkled, weathered look, like how as you age you get those wonderful looking bags underneath your eyes. So I figured I'd like try and incorporate that into the eye of the skull. But I mean, there's so many different techniques you can use when it comes to digital art. I mean, it is just amazing. I mean, like the things you can do with digital art that you just cannot do with traditional. I mean, I guess certain things are there which you can, but digital art is so forgiving with that Control Z and just having to start fresh. And my daughter just texts me, which is the wonderful ding. Ay. Drawing skulls and enjoying all these lovely notifications. I always forget to for some reason put the damn thing off, and then as I'm doing a recording or a voiceover, it just happens to come and I'm like, yep, I forgot to change that or I forgot to turn it off. But oh well, I'm sure everybody has an iPhone or an Android out there and is used to all these dings and all that. Anyway, people, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I'd like to say a special thanks to all of the followers and the new people that may have signed up. Just gonna continue working with this, not recording on the camera, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.